damp.
Yeah. That's just the root layers though, so it looks like there's some laminate there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Nice.
Very dust free.
Yeah. I would use it for filler, but it's got epoxy paint in it. It would probably work great for filler.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they make that stuff, huh?
Guys, you don't realize how dirty this would be with a grinder. All of this material would just be fine particles up in the air, covering everything. This is like a new discovery, man. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
That might have taken you a long time, too.
Yeah, that would have taken like probably, I don't know, 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes at least. Awesome.
Yeah.
This coming up is pretty much microfibers. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, guys. Planer. Grade A.
Yeah, the air's actually clear.
Yeah, it actually is clear. Yeah. Those particles would be hovering in the air too for, you know, at least 5 minutes. And still, even then, microparticles hanging around. But it was just very little bit. The vacuum was picking up the little particles that were blasting that way.
Like all this stuff would be like this fine dust right here instead of like these chunks, these strands. You'll see when I have to get in these corners with the grinder the difference it is.
Yeah.
That's gonna blow it up in here, so yeah, I like it.
That's awesome.
I'll just taper this back. It maybe went a little bit deep there, but I'll just like knock out the difference there. And
yeah, taking off that epoxy paint. That's good.
Yeah, nice. Well, guess proof of concept. Continue on now.
Yeah, for sure. That's a 1/4 inch glass. Well, maybe not quite. 5. Well, maybe. That's pretty thick.
Yeah, I guess it is still tapered in here too, so
yeah,
I'll have to be careful not to lose my taper.
Yep.
But if I knock this down a little bit, it's no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's the most perfect deck. So.
Yeah, I think it's actually thicker than I thought because this is the tab from the pit right here.
Ah, all right.
So I don't think that they. I think this layup is thinner than I thought.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, these are actually old Makita blades too. We use the planer to strip off some old epoxy layup that we had in our middle hold. So they've done a lot of planing now. They're all chipped up, so they still work great.
Yeah.
Doesn't bog the the power tool down too much either.
Over on the fishtail. One day you guys will see the video.
Yeah, we have the video on our hard drives, and yeah, we'll get to it at some point. Alrighty, we'll carry on here.
What do we do here? Let me feel smooth.
Yeah, you look good. Looking stylish, Dad. Looking stylish.
Styling and profiling.
If you guys are ever doing some fiberglass, then be sure to get the full respirator mask. It's amazing. Keeps stuff from getting in your eyes. Yeah, full
Man,
PPE.
don't be cheap. It's like $100 worth of gear. It'll save your lungs.
Yeah,
And your
long-term
eyeballs.
health benefits. Alright guys, so you'll have to excuse all the background noise. Our neighbors are pressure washing. Anyway, as you saw on the footage, Dad's grinding and planing away back here. Thought we'd explain what we're actually doing.
Yeah, so just using this planer to quickly remove some of this material and taper it back a little bit. And I just clean it up with the grinder. It's a lot faster. Just got some old junk blades in here, so we're not really concerned about it. Good way to move material quickly, get a pretty even finish. So I was grinding this out, it's kind of wasting my time. I was gonna take my cutter. I got good wood on both sides, it's just right here. So I'm just gonna zip this out a little bit, try and get back to some better wood. And this will dry out in a couple of days, and then we'll lay back over it. No worries.
Yeah, that's just the easier way to go about it.
Yeah.
Chop that out, let it dry, and I mean, it's nothing for materials
No.
as far as fiberglass, so.
Yeah, we'll take a shop light works good to just hang it, you know, about a foot away from it. It'll put some heat on there, it'll dry that out real quick.
Probably should be good. It probably won't go much further. I'll probably just grind this back. By the time I get into this corner and tie it into here, it'll be solid Looks like it's clearing up right here anyway, so it'll be alright.
Yeah.
Pretty dry over here, so yeah, by the time we taper it back, we'll be fine.
How you feeling?
Good. Yeah. Forgot how much fun that is.
Yeah.
Not
You-
too bad, really.
You get into like a groove.
Yeah. That went pretty quick. Still a little bit to do, a little touch up to do, but supper's cooking and it's time to get home.
Yeah. So we got all the wet wood revealed, looks like.
Yeah, good enough. I
Mhm.
keep reminding myself that this isn't going to be here forever, so.
Right. Don't want to spend too much time on it, huh?
Yeah,
Effort.
but that's back to pretty good wood. I got some more. I gotta level this out a little bit, get these corners. Where these hydraulic fittings went through the deck, a couple of bolt holes, all that stuff needs to be cupped out a little bit like this. And then we'll come back over with a few layers, level it out. Anyways, it looks good. I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah, looks.
Another
looks good.
hour or so of grinding and get the rest of the stuff cleaned up and be ready to lay this glass down and gel coat it and call it good. Good for now.
Have a full deck.
Yeah, yeah, it looks good. That hatch is gonna be nice. I'm excited about the size of that hatch too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we spent the extra money to get a larger one. I know that it's gonna pay off. There's
Yeah.
gonna be one day when we're thankful that we did. Probably
Especially-
every time I climb in and out of here.
I was gonna say, especially climbing in and out, because you pretty much have to get on your knees and crunch and
Yeah.
slide your lower body back in and
Yeah.
under.
And the other ones are tight anyways.
Yep.
So,
So yeah. Anyway, good progress today.
yeah,
Guess we'll pick you guys back up tomorrow.
yeah.
Right.
Till then, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
See
See
you
you
soon.
guys. Alright guys, so we're about to start laying some glass down. And start with these holes right here. It's threatening the rain here in a couple hours. We'll hold off, but get those covered up because they're the exposed ones.
Yeah, at least get this one. And this one is a little bit damp inside, so might have to wait on that. But at least if we get a couple of layers on that one, just put a tarp on this other and it'll be fine. It can dry out. So everything's beveled back a little bit. All of these spots where there's larger holes cupped out a little bit so we can put some putty in there, and then we'll put a couple layers of mat over there just to level it off and build it up a bit. Put some strength over that putty, otherwise it really doesn't hold that well. It can get hit and get knocked loose pretty easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, get rolling here. Okay, so we're just gonna start by mixing up some putty. We like to use microfibers. Sweat Systems, I think other guys probably make some similar stuff. It's just kind of a thick powder. We're kind of aiming for like a peanut butter consistency. It holds well. You make good fillets in the corners with it. You can fill low spots, imperfections like that, plug holes. We usually do about half this and then half just regular glass bubbles, micro balloons, same thing. These are from Fiberlay. Lots of people make them.
Yeah.
So
Those ones smooth out the texture too.
yeah, this will give you a really rough texture. And what we like to do is mix this stuff up, lay it on, and then just go over it with glass right away if possible. If you let it set and harden, you usually got to come back in and sand it, and that just adds extra time. This is milled fiberglass. Make sure you wear, protection, wear a respirator, because this stuff is just like powder. It just becomes airborne everywhere the second you scoop it out. So yeah, Matt's gonna get some putty mixed up, and I guess I'll start, get this plug put in there, huh?
Yeah.
Ready to
We're just pouring a full cup of resin here. Gotta put some acetone in there to thin it a little bit. It's a little gooey, so. Not the best stuff to use.
You should actually thin it with styrene, but we don't have any here, so acetone will weaken it a little bit, but it's not going to be a factor in this. It's not going to hurt it that much, so once you mix the catalyst in it, it'll start to heat up and it'll get a little thinner too. So we're probably going to be mixing this stuff at about 1%, 1.5%. That's catalyst by volume. So one thing to bear in mind is this stuff, as it starts to react, it warms up and it builds exothermic heat. And so when it starts to build that heat, it can start to thicken up and gel pretty quickly. So one of the things to help is don't mix more than you can use in about 15 minutes. If it's hot out, keep your catalyst to resin ratio low, like 1%. If it's colder out, you can mix a little bit hotter, like up to 2% or so. And another thing that really helps keep it from kicking off and gelling on you is if you leave it in a volume like this, it's going to stay hot, it's going to build that heat, it won't let it dissipate. It's just like a big pot of stew after it's hot. You set it there, it's going to stay hot for a long time. But if you pour it out into a thin pan, into a big pan, and you spread it out, it'll dissipate that heat. So bear that in mind. That's how you keep it from kicking off. If you mix that up and then you spend like 10 minutes trying to paint that stuff on, it'll kick it off and it'll just turn to gel and it'll go to waste. So we're gonna, after we mix it up, we're gonna pour it out into a paint tray, and that'll make it last. Keep it from getting thick on us. Keep it from gelling. So we'll just mix a little bit of acetone in there to thin it out a bit. And like I say, that's not the ideal stuff to use, but that's what we have on hand. We don't have styrene here on the island, so that's what we're gonna have to use. And it'll be fine for this job. And hopefully this stuff isn't too thick, but I think it'll be alright. Guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
It'll be fine for putty.
I was thinking that. Yep.
We've got another jug at home, so if this stuff doesn't work out, we'll have to just go get it. Alright, let's get started.
Thin enough? Add any more?
You can thin it a little bit more than that if you need to. You think I should wet out the seams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just thin that a little bit. This is what we use to dispense the MEKP. It's got graduations right here in cc's. So we're mixing this stuff about 20 ounces, about 10 cc. That's going to give us roughly like a 1.5% ratio. Might go a little bit lighter here.
That's 8 ounce there.
That's 8 ounces. Okay. So yeah, we'll probably put like 3 to 4 cc's in there, just roughly. Just kind of eyeball it. So these are nice. You can just put your liquid in here and then you squeeze it. It comes out this spout in the top and it fills up to the graduation that you want. And you can pop off the top and pour it in. Remember to use eye protection. That's pretty heavy for it.
Here's the quick pour.
Is that for me, or is that for your putty?
Both.
Both.
So, after you pour the catalyst in and stir it, there will be a chemical reaction, and the blue will actually change to green.
And then later kind of a brownish, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see it's already taking place. We've shown a cool time lapse on it before when we were painting out the fish hold on the fishtail. So you guys will see it at some point, but it's kind of neat. Mix it thoroughly. Give Dad some stuff here for wetting out the surfaces, and I'll keep me some putty stuff.
Yeah, so while Matt makes some putty, I'm just going to take my chip brush and go around and wet out where we're going to put this putty. That's going to help this resin absorb a little bit into the end grain of the plywood. Hopefully they can understand us.
Hopefully.
So yeah, that's going to help, I was saying, while Matt mixes up some putty, I'm just going to take this resin and a disposable chip brush. I'm going to go wet out all the areas where we're going to put putty in the holes. Any spots that we need to fill, that's just going to help this resin absorb into the wood, into the end grain a little bit, and help that stuff bond a little bit better.
So these are the microfibers. You can see they're pretty coarse. A little tap will put them into the air like that.
You know, I never did like sand inside of this either. You think it's alright?
Should be fine.
This is what it is.
Yep. You see, it's like smoke rising.
So what do you think? Just like start on one side and work our way out?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not doing anything with that big hole. Or the small hole.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, big hole.
These ones here look like we can just, I can just fill the ones with these bolts here. I'll just start on them.
Yeah.
It's a little moisture in there.
The what?
A little bit of moisture there.
Oh. All right. So this is what we end up with. You see, it sticks to the scraper, the popsicle stick. What you want to do is just spread it out in your cup like this. Like Dad was saying, so that it doesn't all kick off in one big glob. Wet out these edges there. So I'll just spread a thin layer because it's gonna want to press this stuff into it, so very thin layer on each side. Messy work, as one would expect. Just like so. hammer, tap it in. Oh. Little thin.
The putty.
Yeah. Toward the bottom, huh? Hair thin. Out of practice.
That's good.
It's kind of funny, you feel rushed, but you have plenty of time.
Yeah. So if you just spread this stuff out thin on the wall like this, that'll help keep it from kicking off. Give it a little more time. So I just got some scrap chop strand here. This seems to work pretty good if you just kind of like make a small layer of it. You can actually kind of like separate this stuff a little bit. This will make a thin layer, but it'll keep that putty from like deforming and pulling up whenever you're fiddling with it. Now I'm just going to go back in here and dab a little resin on top of it. It's a little bit tricky, it wants to lift on you sometimes. You don't want to stroke it, you want to dab it. Once it starts to suck up a little resin, it won't go anywhere. You can see where it looks dry in places. You just want to kind of keep working this resin in there. So at this point, when this stuff dries right here, it's basically going to be waterproof. It's just that thin layer. I'm not too worried about over here or anything. When we come back to gel coat this, we can just hit that with the grinder and knock that rough stuff down. We're not looking for like a finish on a bumper or a car fender or anything like that.
Unless you like boot prints.
Alright, so that thin layer just kind of locked that putty in place now. You can see that, you know, it'll move underneath, but you can just flatten it right back out again. No worries. So that works really good just to kind of hold it in place. And then you can come in with a thicker layer. Another thing for like these edges right here, you get like a cut line like that if it's sharp, but if you just come in here and you just rip it, that just feathers that edge out. It'll lay down there a lot nicer. Then you just use this stuff to, same thing, throw it down over here. These holes kind of dipped a little bit where the putty is sagging, so we'll just put a little bit of that stuff on there. Come right back over the top of it with some putty, that's going to stiffen that up.
rocket science.
No,
It's pretty easy.
same
really.
thing. Just get a little fluid on there and just start dabbing it. Take your time, don't get in a rush, don't try and spread it because you'll just drag it everywhere. I put down a layer of mat, a layer of roving, and then I think I put down 3 more layers of mat. Normally we'd use some stuff called BTI, which is, this is roving, this is BTI. It's a cross stitch, it's got 3/4 ounce mat on the back side, and then, I think this is like, I want to say like 20 ounce or something thereabout. I forget the exact name of it, but basically it's just 2 layers of like a roving type strand. It's all stitched together, 3/4 inch mat on the back. Works really good for build up. Makes a nice strong laminate.
Battery went dead. Just about to get our cross stitch layer laid down. Got a fresh batch of resin mixed up, and it's just starting to rain out, so I was laying some plastic down on this little patch here.
Yeah, I think that this stuff's probably
Last stuff. Getting there, huh? Still a little bit wet.
Yep. Just the top, it'll be sticking.
So yeah, I want to tell you guys, whenever you're working over your piece too, you want to watch for your mask condensation. When you breathe into your mask, you put water into it, so when you're looking down and you breathe out hard, you'll drip water out of it. So if you ever see like a white speck on your work, that means there's a water droplet there, and what you have to do is get a rag and some acetone and get it out of there, otherwise it won't adhere. Tips and tricks: watch your mask. Sometimes you can just grab a little piece of paper towel and put it in the bottom of your mask to absorb the water there. Anyway, time to lay down this cross stitch and wet it out.
Tell me where.
That way more. Should we lap that by like quarter inch or something here?
Yeah, how's that there? Look pretty good.
Yeah, pull your top that way here.
This way.
Yeah. There you go.
You like?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Stuff that's slow to saturate, so you gotta be patient. Actually,
Yeah, spread some on there, give it a few minutes, come back, lay it a little more down.
I actually kind of forgot. Usually, I give it a nice thick coat of it before we set the cloth down. I think Dad did already, but I tend to do it again usually.
Probably could have gone a little heavier, but it's coming through.
Yep.
So Dad will work on consolidating it here. The resin will keep soaking into the cloth. In the meantime, I'll go cut another piece of mat to the top, if you think we need it.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is fun.
Yeah, I'll go cut a piece of mat for the top, and the mat will actually soak up any excess resin that's on top of this BTI, so that always works good. Never hurts to have too much.
It's like right up into there.
Okay. Just overlap the BTI there.
Just bring it up to like where that other stuff ends almost.
Okay. 35.
Like up to where the
Gel coat.
Gel coat is, yeah,
Okay, we'll just go 35.
that's good. Well, now, I think we're good here. Throw this layer down there. Good, I'll just trim that stuff. That looks pretty good, huh? Yep. I think it looks pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Should be alright, huh?
Uh-huh.
You reckon I should run up to the post office real quick?
Yeah, if it's time.
I'll be your beer.
Yeah. No worries. No worries.
Okay, guys. So we've got our two sides glassed here. Pretty easy job overall. Not too hard when it's just on a flat surface like that. So went pretty much as expected.
Yeah. Looking good out here. Got the other penetrations all filled.
Yep. Well, those guys there, over there, what we have left is a couple of holes from the cleat back there, and also glassing over where it was, and the middle, of course, where
Yep.
the hatch is going.
Where the hatch goes. And speaking of, I just ran up to the post office and got a little package. So let's take a look here. All right. Ta-da! Freeman 24 Series hatch. Exciting. And
Yeah.
this is the first hatch we've ever bought new. Bought a new hatch ring once.
That's right.
This
Yeah.
is the first hatch we've ever bought new.
Ooh, shiny.
Ooh, that is beautiful. Ah. Freeman. Okay, so this is a knife style patch ring where the gasket actually goes up against this edge right here. Doesn't go in here. The other ones actually don't have this knife edge here. It's just a flat flange, so when you open them up, any water or gurry or residue that's in this crack always just kind of dribbles down into your void, into your lazarette, into wherever, and it's actually kind of annoying. So this one has a knife edge. I think that's the only way these ones come is a knife edge. The oval ones come both ways, either with just a flush flange that your gasket goes down to, or this knife edge that your gasket registers off of. So, let's see, any grease on this thing? A little bit of grease on this. Better wipe it off real quick. Alright, little sneak peek here. Yep, nice. Wow.
Very nice. That's slick. Okay, guys. Well, we just had a little cleanup party. Got our tools all de-stickied and put away, and cleaned up the deck. The carnage. It's always the fun part of fiberglassing is that you don't have time to goof around and pick up your mess until it's all over.
Yeah, scraps and pieces laying everywhere, and
Yep.
got tidied up. Happy with the way things turned out. We're just gonna wait on that. That first side that we did, it was starting to kick off, and you get some strands and stuff that aren't packed down, and it's just a hassle to try and work around that. So it's easier just to let it harden up, and then we'll hit it with the sander, knock those strands down. We'll figure out what we're gonna do with that hatch. I think we're probably gonna router around that ring a little bit and drop it into the deck, kind of make it recessed. So if we're sliding anything around back there, we're not hitting that lip.
Yep. Give you guys a closer look here. A little
So-
feel me back here. So.
Yeah, beautiful hatch. Nice and easy to get in and out of there. I'm glad that we went with the bigger one. I'm very happy.
Yeah, me too.
And I think also it just resulted in that knife edge because I didn't know that. Or yeah, I didn't realize that they made two varieties like that. So
Well, guess we'll bring you guys back once we get back to it. Figure out a plan for this inset here and go from there.
yeah, this stuff will be all kicked off this evening and plenty hard in the morning. Just come in here and just hit this with the grinder real fast. This is the stuff I'm talking about right here, the stray hairs. And once they're like that, you either try and peel them off, but there's gonna be spots. And what they do is they just stick up a little bit. You can't sand it down because you'll just gum everything up. It's not hard yet, it's still soft. And so you try and put your mat down on that. You'll have air bubbles underneath that. Any spots that are just raised even a tiny bit, it just won't lay down. It'll drive you crazy. We know from experience. So yeah, we'll slide this back in the box and stash it away, and it's off to home for some dinner. So, as usual, thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed our little project here.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully we shared some knowledge with you. And
Good or bad.
yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be back at it again, and we'll see you then.
Yep.